Well, hello there. How are you doing today? This is Zain from Zain for English. Today's subject about animals and human language. The first subject is communication. We should first distinguish between specifically communicative signals and those which may be unintentionally informative signals. When someone said that he is going to the college, he is trying to communicate that he is going to the college. You receive a communicative signals that he is going to the college. On the other hand, when you see your brother or your friend wearing a uniform, he is unintentionally informed you that he is going to the college or school or whatever. That's the main concept. Here, he's giving us some examples. Someone listening to you may become informed about you through a number of signals that you have. For example, she may note that you have a cold, you sneezed. Similarly, for the animals, the blackbird is not normally taken to be communicating anything by having black feathers, but is considered to be sending communicative signals with a loud squawking produced when a cat appears on the scene. So, when we're talking about distinguish between human language and animal communication, we are considering both in terms of the potential as a means of intentional communication. So here, the author in this book is trying to take both the human communication and the animals ones in as an intentional communication. Moving to the properties of human language. There is a properties of a human language. While we tend to think of communication as the primary function of human language, it is not distinguishing features. All creatures communicate in some way. However, we suspect that other creatures are not reflecting on the way they create their communicative message or reviewing how they work or not, how they work or not. Here's the example of the dog barking. One barking dog is probably not offering advice to another barking dog along the lines of, hey, you should lower your bark to make it sound more menacing. No, he's not trying to give him an advice. They are not barking about barking. No, they are not talking about, their language. Humans are clearly able to reflect on language and its uses. For example, I wish he would not use so many technical terms. This is what is so called reflexivity. The property of reflexivity or reflexiveness accounts for the fact that we can use language to think and talk about language itself, making it one of the distinguishing features of human language. We are, as a human being, we can talk about our language. For example, when you saw your younger brother talking to your colleague or whatever by a high voice, swear words, you should probably advise him not to use such words because it's not appropriate. Well, here is another five of properties of human language, which is displacement, arbitrariness, and productivity, cultural transmission, and duality. The first one, which is displacement. Well, displacement in general, it means that you can or you have the ability to talk about another time, another place. For example, a human can talk about past, future, and for another place here, there. Whereas the animal communication, they cannot do such as we do. Here, when your bad cat comes A woman stands at your feet calling meow. Likely you are likely to understand this message as relating to the immediate time and place. If you ask your cat where it has been and what it was up, you'll probably get the same response. But humans can reflect to past and future time. This property of human language is called displacement. It allows language users to talk about things and events not present in the immediate environment. Indeed, displacement allows us to talk about things and places that we are not um, certain of their existence, such as Santa Claus, Superman, and so on and so forth. But we have a small exception. We could look at bee communications because it seems to have some version of displacement. For example, when a honeybee finds a source of nectars and returns to the beehive, it can perform a complex dance routine to communicate to the other bees the location of the nectar, depending on the type of dance. Also, this is a limited displacement for the bees because they can only talk about the last food source. They cannot talk about the food source of the last weekend or something like that. They just have the ability to talk about the recent and the last food source. Now, with the second property, which is arbitrariness. It is generally the case that there is no natural connection between a linguistic form and its meaning. The connection is quite arbitrary. We cannot just look at the Arabic word kelp and from its shape. The arbitrariness of a human language, it means that there is no connection, no real connection between words and its shape in reality. When we says in reality, there is no iconic relationship. Uh, this is what's so-called arbitrariness. Here is some examples how words it could be if there is a real connection. For example, a ball, it's like a circle, like a ball in reality. Fall or tall, that tall letters, and wall as well. But we have a small exceptions, like there is a connection or echo. Let us say echo, that sounds of objects and activities, and hence seems to have less arbitrary connection. English examples are cuckoo and crush. In the animals kingdom, we can find that there is a huge connection between words and the signals. The purpose of the impression that we have of the non-arbitrariness of animal signaling may be closely connected to the fact that for any animal, the set of signals used in communication is finite. That is, each variety of animal communication consists of fixed signals, limited signals. Many of these forms are only used in specific situations, such as establishing territory and at a particular time during the mating season. That's all about the arbitrariness. That's all for today's lecture, and see you in the next one.